we are doing something a little bit different now. We are talking to a personal favourite comedian of mine. Yeah, he is in my top 10 favourite comics of all time. It's none other than the great Tony Law. Tony, thank you very much
Hello.
for joining us this afternoon.
No problem. Thanks for having me. Top 10. Jeez. Okay,
Definitely.
don't go there. No more.
Definitely top 10. You actually won the first comedians I ever saw live. It was.
And I've slipped down into the top 10.
You just about got in the top 10.
That'll do.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I ain't seen you in a while. Last time I saw you perform was before Christmas at Fat
Yes.
Penguin, which was a
Love
great
Fat
night.
Penguin.
I do remember that very much so. But I suppose that gets into our first question, a bit generic, so I do apologise for that. You're not a person who enjoys anything generic. But how have you found yourself during lockdown?
Pretty. I think I probably would have been pretty depressed. I was in denial for the first while because I was still willing the gigs on, and I was dismissing the whole business and still just going, fuck it, I'm doing it, man. And then I went in through depression because I just said, oh God, it's all over. And then children got me so busy that I had to just think about them. So they ruined all my wallowing. And then I got lucky. I got a audiobook job. So that was a little bit of money to keep me going. And so I'm back into denial again. Just can't wait till it opens up again. People aren't, it's harder to book days in for tours because people aren't willing to put you in. But I have a feeling things are going to open the fuck up pretty soon.
Well,
gigs might be a couple months off for gigs, but it looks like people have just said, you know what? I'm going to take the risk.
Well, I don't think many people are going to be doing many gigs this year. I don't really think gigs will be happening at all this year. I think people want to play it on the safe side. That's only my.
I got some tour shows booked in with a few venues, and they're pretty keen to go ahead. But
right, well,
on the whole, I think you're right. I think they might be rare.
So
but
is it fair to say that you're not hoping, but are you still anticipating those shows then?
The ones in the late autumn, I am, yeah. Not the ones in the summer are all written off. We're already in the summer, so they're gone. I don't have any hope for them. September, slim hope, but I'm banking on November, December, just so I think that's continue to do comedy.
I think that's the safest time to assume you'll be back to work again. But also another question I wanted to ask is because you've been continuously working for like the last 15, 20 years or so now. Does it feel weird for yourself to have like this period of like, I'm going to take 3 months off, 4 months? Well, not by choice.
Oh, yeah. Dude, it's awful because I get so much of my self-esteem or raison d'etre. My reason for living is from going on long drives and chatting to people all over the country who I consider kind of my audience to be friends in a way, you know, like I don't need more from a friendship than seeing people like once or twice a year. So I go to these gigs and then I meet everyone afterwards and we sign some stuff. And I genuinely feel like if there's someone I haven't seen before, they're a new friend. And if there's someone who's been before, they're an old friend. So I really miss it actually, because I'm not one of these people who has like 6 really close friends and I get all of my needs met by my 6 close friends. And there's a couple couples we're really dear with. You know, I've basically got my wife and kids and then all of my fans. That's it. And I've kind of purposely painted myself into that corner because I love it. It's exactly what I need. Anyway, so it's been depressing as fuck for me.
Yeah. Also, I should just a quick side note. Can you please just not swear because I'm going to have to.
Did I swear?
You swore about 3 times already.
Oh, sugar! You told me not to swear.
Nah, it's fine.
I'm so sorry. Sorry.
I can edit it in post. Don't worry about it. But so you're basically the person that doesn't enjoy having close friends, then?
Well, I've got them, but I'm old.
I'm sure you have. So
you know, but as you get older, like I've still got the same best friend from Canada, and we don't need to speak to each other very often. We'll send each other the odd text or whatever. But yeah, no, it's just I love gigging so much. I really love traveling around, and I love going into Sainsbury's and seeing the ladies and guys who work at Sainsbury's, and then I like hitting the roads, chit-chatting to the people at services, and then going to the venues, talking to the sound guy, and then chatting to the audience. And so that's kind of my social. So without that, I've been a little bit bereft. And but yeah, I think loads of people have gained something from it, haven't they? I've read a lot, and I've built a studio in this closet, which has got a really, really good sound. So I don't know what to say inside of it yet.
Are you thinking about doing more online content? Because I know a lot of comedians are thinking a lot of that.
Well, I've been doing. Sorry.
No, you carry on. You go.
No, I've been doing a few things with Phil Nichol on his Lost Comics site, and I've been doing a few things on the Comedy Unleashed. I've done a couple things with them, and I run a show on a Friday night. It's like a shit quiz with Mick Ferry and Trevor Locke and Pope Lonergan. So that's Saturday night at 7, and then I do Phil Nichol's Virtue Chamber Echo Bravo. We do that Sundays at noon, but that's it. Because I think unless you're doing like proper like sketches, really good sketches, I'm not sure that for me film stuff doesn't work so much. Like I don't like watching groups of people on a Zoom call. That doesn't work for me. The banter, the timing, it's impossible to do timing, and if they put too much into it, it's just too slick and it feels clunky. Well, I guess it feels a bit like Mock the Week, actually. It's like millions of Mock the Weeks. Whereas, the actual genuine improvised shows like Buzzcocks, which is canceled, or Have I Got News for You, those ones rely on pure banter being in the moment. So those are the only ones I like. So yeah, I don't think online's going to be the answer. I think humans crave being in audiences clapping at a thing.
One thing that I found...
We'll be back.
Yeah, I'll definitely be back. Because one thing I found really annoying as well, as an amateur stand-up myself, is that a lot of comedians were like questioning whether like there'll be ever be a thing as like live audiences again. It's like, yeah,
that's nuts.
That's like what you just said, because obviously your act is very visual in itself as well, and like you use a stage to your own. Whereas it would still be funny what you do, obviously, but it wouldn't work as well on like on a video online.
Because a lot of it's improvised on how it's working in the audience. So if there's a section really enjoying it, you react to that and you turn this dial up. It's like, or you turn that section up, bring that section down, play a little bit more, move around a bit because they seem to like the clowning stuff. So you feed off 100 and 150 people like a voice, like a it's symbiotic. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yes.
You feel each other out, and that makes for a level of electric gig you can never get in a record. Even if it's your best gig, it'll never come across in a record. There's just something about it. And I think that's a very inexperienced sort of very, very young person's idea that there will be no more live gigs, because they were doing live gigs long before I was old enough to do gigs. And they were doing, they've been going back to the 1800s. And I'll bet you before that they were doing it. People love being in an audience. And stand-up's a really pure, basic thing. It's a man or woman stood up in front of a group acting like a clown. Love it. People will never get sick of that.
It's also, a thing that everyone thinks they can do. Like, people think they can literally just go up like with no experience whatsoever and do 5 minutes off the top of their head, but they have no idea the crap that some people have done. I mean, like what you say, you've been going around for like years.
20 years.
Like 20 years, exactly. So, and it's fair to say that, I don't want to sound cruel here when I say it, but the first couple of years, you weren't well known until later on. So, it takes time. And
at least the first 10 were a struggle. But you can still make a living, and But I don't even think I got any good until my 10th year, and then I think I got bad again. When I'm in my 10th year, I started getting really good because I was doing what I want. Finally getting to where I wanted to be, and then I lost it a bit for, I'd say 2015, 16, 17. It dipped. And that's because I was getting used to being sober again. But now I think I'm back again, and I'm better than I was before.
No, definitely. Like, I would say
it's not easy for people to just go and get up there. I mean, you can go up and be average really easily. Like you can go up and push all the buttons, if you've got the right material, if you've got the kind of, the sort of really mainstream material with very traditional structures of a beginning, middle, end kind of routine, you can do pretty good right away. But I don't think it's not, you could do that online, couldn't you?
Well, yeah, exactly. And I think, like what you said earlier, it's a very young idea of people thinking that they can just literally do comedy without an audience. And not actually realizing how important, or without saying too sentimental, the importance of doing it in front of a live audience and keeping the tradition of especially alternative comedy going.
Yes.
If it goes completely to like YouTube, whatever, to where it be like marketed massively, then you've completely lost the whole idea of why stand-up has been, or how the way stand-up has been structured for the last 20, 30 odd years. So
yeah, maybe it'll filter out some of the chaff. Maybe it'll be, it might shake out some of the dead weight.
Phonies, maybe, something like that.
Yeah, so good old stand-up. Love it.
One more question, and then
yeah. Where are you anyway?
I'm in my bedroom at the moment.
Where's that?
It's in Howells Owen in Birmingham.
Oh, and how's it been up there, the old lock-in?
It's been all right. It's been pretty good. Very quiet. Pretty much doing the same thing for the last 3 weeks. I love it.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the
I don't mind the staying at home bit. I never go out, but I miss just driving to gigs. That's what I miss. But
I do actually miss gigging, because I've only been doing it for about a year or so. And I'm still fresh. So I do miss that myself personally. But one more question, because I know you're a busy man, and I'll leave you to it. But Edinburgh Fringe, obviously, it's if it does run, it'll be a very smaller version of it than it has been for the last 15 or so years. How do you feel about the Fringe? Because usually they sort of triumph over anything like this.
Yeah.
Do you feel about the Fringe possibly not happening this year?
I don't think it's going to happen. I kind of put it out of my mind when they officially canceled it, and I just can't imagine any sort of skeletal. I don't think you can make it work financially. It's too much of a risk to go, I'm going to give it a go anyway, in case no one came. Or you could clean up. I don't know. But you got to have that shit organized a long time ago, and all of that's just fallen away. So I don't know.
Obviously,
I'm just gonna have to take all the ideas I had before and just move them on to the next year.
So are you going to be touring the same stuff as you have done? Or you could literally be like changing as you go along.
The stuff I was doing the last 2 months before we stopped, I'll be taking that, and then I'll just add a whole bunch of new stuff too. So the stuff that I start off doing in October or whatever, I probably won't be doing by January. It's kind of, I need to do gigs to turn it over, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I've got to be doing gigs to just get rid of that bit, and a new bit moves in. So I'll probably do that. Yeah. But I'm gonna pick up the material I just finished doing and run with that at first.
Excellent. Yeah. Thank you very much for doing this for us, Tony. Sincerely,
my pleasure. Thanks.
As I said beforehand, you are genuinely one of my favourite ever stand-ups. I'm not just saying that because you're here. So, anything you want to plug before we leave you?
I guess come see me live in the autumn, but mrtonylaw.co.uk, and tune in on Sunday at noon on not Netflix, Next Up, when I do a show with Phil Nichol. That's just absolute stupidness. We just talk bollocks for about an hour. And I can do another one on Friday night at 7 as well. And that's on muchlaughter.com. So yeah,
I'll try and catch that myself if I can. But yeah, Tony, brilliant to have you, and thanks for coming on. And yeah, see you soon, hopefully.
See you soon. All the best. Thanks for having me.
Cheers. Thank you, mate.